City of Yamhill City Council meeting to order at 6:31. Ooh, he's on time.
1 minute late.
You did great. As Mr. Askey sitting down, we could get a roll call.
Featherston here.
Askey here. Corrigan here.
Kent here.
All right, we will now rise for a flag salute, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Absolutely. All right, thank you everybody for coming tonight. Nice to see some different new faces. Thank you, Bubba, for coming tonight. And we're going to open this time up now for public comment. Yamhill encourages all citizens to comment on any city business. This is not a dialogue platform. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes. If you request special accommodations or additional time, not for tonight, but in the future, please get in touch with us at the City Hall. Phone number is listed here on the agenda. Do we have anybody for public comment? Well, Patty Perrin.
What else is new, huh? Okay. Patty Perrin, 215 North Maple Street. I'm on the water committee, and I was under the impression that the water committee was working on the contracts for the districts. Then I found out that we weren't, that it was city council that is doing that. So in all the council meetings that I've come to, I've not heard anything about the city contracts or the district contracts. Shelley did say that the attorneys had them. I don't know if there's been an update since our last water meeting, but I would like to ask city council if I could take charge and maybe have 1 or 2 city council members and I don't know, maybe a district person involved in getting those contracts updated and then send something to the attorneys at the end. And the only reason that I say that, and I'm going to hand this out to you all, is because I have gone through these contracts and this is a summary.
I'm sorry.
So,
These need to be provided prior to the meeting. You're gonna do-
Oh, they're all the same.
so just information for everybody. If you
Yeah.
have something to hand out to council, those things do need to be provided to Angie before the meeting starts. Anything you hand out, I mean, if it's a sticker, it goes into public record. So we have to create a file for that. And so it's just best that those things be
Okay.
taken care of in advance of the meeting.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's all this is correct
It-
at this point.
It is.
To the record.
It is.
Well,
It's from
it-
the
Yeah.
contracts. This is all from the contracts. It's word for word from the contracts. I didn't just use my own verbiage for it. Anyway, so
I'm saying I need to.
anyway, so that once and for all, I mean, the last contract that was updated was in 1997. So I'd like to for you, like I say, just keep that in mind so that we can get these done once and for all, so that all the districts have the same contract.
Thank you, Patty. Let's see. Bubba.
My name's Bubba King. I'm a Newburgh resident, but newly elected county commissioner. Part of our liaison duties that we've split up this year, Commissioner Johnson and I split up the cities to try to attend as many city councils as we could. To just learn about what it is your guys' needs are and if we fit in. It's never to be a big brother type of situation or anything like that, but just if there was a need or you guys wanted to get to know one of us a little bit better. Resources, wanted to put me on the agenda to ask questions, anything like that. So I'll be trying to make these meetings as often as I can. See me. probably won't make much public comment outside of tonight, but I'm here as a resource, so please use me, and very excited to work with you guys. So I believe that most of you guys have gotten my email, my phone number. Happy to give that to you guys as well. So thanks for having me. Congratulations on being city council members, and mayor, new mayor, congratulations as well, and thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. All right. Sherry, your name's down next.
Sherry Wilson, 710 East Main. So I have two things I want to address. First being the Jane Heinrich Walking Park and what a mess it is down there because there are motorized vehicles being used on the trail and it's a muddy mess and you can't even walk on the trail. You have to walk up on the side. So Jason didn't think there was an issue. I sent pictures to Angie the other day and there are definite, tracks in there and it's all eroded. So I'd like something. Okay, go ahead.
For the record, it wasn't Jason.
Oh, I thought Jason said it wasn't. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. My bad. Secondly, there's been a lot of issues with the place across the street, which is done and said, but when you do pull up to the stop sign on First Street, the reflection of your own car because of the reflective glass almost makes you think somebody's coming. So somebody needs to kind of look at that, maybe kind of check on it, because I thought they were supposed to be windows didn't know they were going to be reflective glass windows. So there you go.
Thank you, Sherry.
Mhm.
Bob, you had your hand up.
I do. I just have a FYI. Robert Davis, 212 North Maple Street. I'm also the founder of Yamhill Neighborhood Association. We've been working with the Lions Club to help them establish a couple of events. The first event, as a reminder for everybody, we've already posted flyers around the city, is February 22nd of this month at the Carlton, the brand new Carlton building in downtown at the City Hall. And the event runs from 10 to 12. And one of the speakers will be Brian Young, the head of the Yamhill County Emergency Operations Department. And in addition to that, a high-end CERT member by the name of Jane Wolf. Both will be speaking about emergency and disaster preparedness and how you can support your family, your neighbors, your friends, and survive an emergency or disaster should it happen, when it happens, because it's going to happen sooner or later. And you won't be one of the hundreds of thousands of people wondering what to do with yourself. You'll be prepared at least with a 72-hour bag. If not, you'd be prepared with what to do and how to do it, how to collect food, how to find water, shelter, and whatnot. But anyway, that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bob. Allison, your name's down, but you didn't say you wanted to
Oh, I didn't
speak.
know that I was supposed to.
No,
Yeah,
I'm just
I didn't want to talk.
Some people forget to check, so I just thought I would ask.
Maybe I will. I'm just.
Go for it.
I'll say something. I'm wanting
This is
to
your
know
chance,
if,
good.
if there
Tell
are.
them who you are.
Hi, I'm Allison Simmons, 710 East Main. I'm just wondering if motorized vehicles are even allowed to go down at the Jane Heinrich Park, if that's even a thing. Because I thought that was like a walking trail, like that was the intent. And I don't know if that's, do you guys know the answer to that?
So the public comment is actually for comment, not question. So the reason that we
Okay.
don't answer questions typically is simply because some things that we shouldn't answer just off the cuff, but maybe.
Because I read the sign down there and it did say, recreational use only, as in not recreational vehicles, but recreational use, as in softball. So
I made a note and we'll find out.
We'll look
Okay,
into
that would be
part.
awesome, because it's just tearing it all up and it's golf carts and it's just frustrating because, yeah, it's just frustrating. Thanks, appreciate it.
I can get your email.
What? I can answer that. Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you. Kathy Phillips, did you want to speak now? Jenny Morrison, did you want to speak now?
I can just wait until.
Wait until. And Sean's on the deal. Mr. Mitchell, did you care to speak now? No? Okay. Do we have anybody online that would like to speak?
Anyone online wishing to make public comment? If you could raise your hand or press *9 if you're on a phone. There are no hands raised.
Okay, thank you. So moving on then, so agenda updates or additions?
Me too.
Yes.
So there were a couple updates to the agenda today. The agendas that were handed out here today are updated and the changes are highlighted in blue. All the ones the counselors have are highlighted in blue as well. An addition under unfinished business, regarding adopting a council mission statement, which included 2 additional packet items, and those are included in the manila folders for the council separately. So any additions to the agenda, I'll put in those manila folders for you guys. You'll have a paper copy there for you. Under new business, we also included a resolution under appointing a budget officer. So that has been added and that is also included in the manila folder.
All right, thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda. So first would be the financial statement to current. Do we want to have any questions?
Council wants to confirm the consent agenda is general.
Just
As a
sure.
whole.
We know what we normally do is we speak to if anybody had any questions or concerns about any of those things. So the financial statement, I guess we could include it all at the same time, the meeting from January 8th, January 15th, or the work session from January 15th. Is everybody comfortable with? Can I get a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Need a second.
Second.
We'll take a vote, please.
Featherston, yes. SCI.
Morgan, aye.
Can die.
All right. Moving on to committee reports. So planning commission. Sean, if you'd like to come up. Our new planning commission chairman. Congratulations on that.
Sean Freilinger, 665 East Erica. So in our last meeting on January 27th, we had 3 actions. The first was a conditional use variance for a sign on the canopy of the new service station that was approved. We passed a recommendation on to you folks regarding the exterior lighting proposal. We addressed some of your concerns. And so you'll have that, I believe, next month, sounds like. We also passed a sign variance for the park to add the Cycle Oregon kiosk sign to the park. We decided to postpone our meeting this month because of Walt's resignation. And we were in the midst of working on Title 11 revisions. And so we felt like it was a good breaking point for the new city planner to come in. So we didn't have any work for this month. So we're
Fantastic. That sounds like a good time to take a break.
we do have an opening on the commission. And then we had elections. Was elected chair and Ken was now elected co-chair.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for serving. All right, moving along, Water Advisory Committee, Kathy Phillips.
Kathy Phillips, 19625 Northeast Laughlin Road. We had our last meeting January 21st. And we went over the Merkley grant. And which is a $240,000 grant when we get the money. It will be used for the Hillsborough tie-in, McMinnville tie-in, impounded plant pipeline and Barney Reservoir projects or possible projects, trying to help the committee come up with recommendations to the city for which is the best direction or the best way to go to try to solve some of our water issues. Another thing we discussed, well, we tabled Patty's recommendation for new lawn restriction because after she read it again, it was not there anymore. So it was kind of a mute thing on the agenda. And new business, Bob mentioned signage at the impound and possibly at the water treatment plant out there. And Jason was gonna check into the need, if we needed new signage for either one of those to do with federal. What did you call it, Joe Bob? Federal. Anyway, if it's against the law, federal law, he said maybe the signage should be different. So that was. So that was all we had, and then we discussed a few minutes on the district contracts because that is not something that the committee is supposed to be doing. That was taken away. The city council said they were gonna take care of that, so last year, February last year. We made a motion and to table or to go on a hiatus until the Merkley grant is done because we keep having these meetings discussing some of the stuff, but we can't come up with any kind of answers until we get the funding from the Merkley grant shows up and AKS can do these studies. So we have some numbers and some information to actually make a decision. So we're kind of on hold until
that gets cleared out.
that gets cleared up.
Okay.
I hope Merkley grant actually comes through because our first water advisory meeting, we had a Merkley grant money. We still don't have the money.
Right. It's
So
slow money.
it's very slow money. And that's public entity. I do not used to that slow stuff. But anyway, and that's all I got.
Thank you. Moving on to the Economic Development Committee, Jenny Morrison.
So we met Tuesday, February 4th. Oh, I should give my address, 20051 Northwest Adcock Road. So we met last Tuesday and we are continuing to work on our priorities for the committee under the categories of live, work, and play. And part of that, one of the sub areas of that is this historic designation, and it's discussed that we definitely want to align with city council's priorities on what we are tasked with. And then part of that is making sure that we understand the clear motivation behind the historic designation from the city council. So we want to make sure that we are aligned on that, and then we can proceed with our investigations and doing the research on that. We worked on some updates on some things that are happening there's a Travel Oregon grant that the Yamhill Downtown Association is working on submitting. They have a letter of intent, and that is for a walking tour signage. So to update, so the signs that we have around town in the barrels that are the historic spots with the Beverly Cleary tie-in, and so that would be to update those and have them a little more historic and substantial and really make for a nice focal point for the town. We have also a new, well, as far as the priorities that we're doing, and again, under those categories of live, work, and play, we're still trying to kind of determine okay, beautification, what kind of storefront improvements, things to do on that, public square idea, types of businesses, how to help recruit businesses and support our current businesses, parks improvement, which ties in, to the parks plan, and again, with the historic designation. And then the one thing to bring up here tonight too is we do have a new Economic Development Committee member who has put in his application. We met with him at the meeting and we had a unanimous support or decision to support his moving forth to city council. And he couldn't be here tonight, but his name is Dustin Joseph. And I'm not sure if you guys have seen the information about him. If you've gotten his application, or if you've seen that. If not, I can give you highlights. Have you done that?
That we sent it back earlier.
I'm not sure if we got that or not. I'm familiar with Dustin, but I don't know that I've read about his application.
Shall I give you some highlights?
So he's, lives here in Yamhill. He owns a catering business, Biscuits and Pickles, he and his wife. And it's in McMinnville, and it's quite a catering business that they do weddings and major events and dinners and stuff. And he had expressed interest in just serving at the city somehow, and so I had a pretty long conversation with him and shared all the different options between council and planning commission and budget and economic development. He was very interested in economic development. And one of his motivations is that at some point they would love to possibly bring part of their business or some of their business to Churchill, since they live here. And he's very motivated to help identify how we can improve the downtown and bring some more vitality to it. So we invited him to the meeting, and he had an opportunity to listen to us. We asked him some questions, and I think the committee was overall very impressed and encouraged and enthusiastic to include him in the committee. And so Jenny then was tasked to bring it here for council's approval to appoint the vacancy.
Yeah.
And we have one vacancy of the committee, and it is for the business representative.
And I can read his explanation of why he wants to serve in the position, if that's helpful. He said, looking around our town, I'm hoping to help with ideas to further our downtown while honoring our heritage and agricultural history. Looking towards what would help bring tourists that stay near and our local populace for our downtown and surrounding areas. I enjoy and have enjoyed living in Yamhill these almost 4 years and would like to help as best as I can.
Very nice. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So moving on to unfinished business.
Oh, I think that's you guys need to
Oh, we need to go.
Yeah.
Is it a motion?
appoint, to approve,
To approve the new committee members?
to appoint him to the committee.
Would it be a motion? Can I get a motion?
Dustin Joseph.
Joseph.
Just
Justin.
I
Dustin
make-
Joseph.
make a motion to approve Dustin Joseph as the new committee member of EDC.
Corrigan second.
Featherston, I.
Asking I.
Corrigan, aye.
And I.
All right. Now we'll move on to the unfinished business.
The second on that was,
I did. Nobody else spoke up.
your speaker.
So the unfinished business, we're reviewing applicants for city councilor pro term ending December of 26. We have 3 applicants. We have Patty Perrin, Alessandra Ekstrom, Alicia Arthur Overstreet. Do we have either of Ms. Ekstrom or Arthur Overstreet? Are they on line?
I have Miss Overstreet online.
Okay.
She has her hand raised, so she's available if you want to allow her to talk. Ms. Ekstrom was, she had a previous engagement and she was not able to reschedule, so she is not able to make the meeting tonight online or in person.
Okay.
But is still interested in being.
So, just for record, in order to appoint a new city councilor, the city charter basically says that council will appoint if there's a vacancy. And we have the vacancy. So the way that we've decided the best way to go about this is we have asked these people to submit an application. It explains some of their background and it explains some education and why they wish to serve in this position. So what we'll do is we'll review those things at the end. So, and I believe that the people on, so Ms. Overstreet and Ms. Perrin can potentially, they can read their, why they wish to serve in this position. We'll then, as council, have an opportunity to have a discussion at the conclusion of them reading those statements. And then what we'll do is we will have a vote. And the way that that will work is, we'll ask for a nomination, if somebody would like to nominate one of these 3 people. And we'll go through the process of the first nomination would be listed and the second, and assuming that we have all three were nominated by 1, 2, 3 of us. We'll then go into a roll call vote where it would be, for example, ASCII, you would say your name, counselor or appointee X, right? So you would say your name and then the name of the person that you were voting for and so on and so forth. If when we go through, we have a majority vote, then we stop voting as that person has won.
Make a motion to-
And we make a motion, yes, exactly at that point. Did we have some questions that we're prepared to?
I do have questions and I have put them on the Google Drive.
I see the application says it after.
Look at different folder,
Or is it in a different folder?
like if you go back.
I don't have one in front of me. There's Google Drive, stay on my drive. Click on my drive and then counselor
It's not letting me
position
go back.
questions. Open that folder and there you can open.
What we can do is when we ask the questions, I'll just maybe have you ask or you can look.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
So there are questions prepared. Or you can just let them speak.
And then I assume Ms. Overstreet can hear. Do you have your application, Ms. Overstreet, or would you like somebody to read into the record why you wish to serve in this position?
Oh, are you speaking to Alicia?
I was hoping to.
I'm sorry, I didn't have her on.
Oh, sorry about that.
Unmuted.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
I am not sure if you could see my video or if it's just audio. I mean, I'm okay either way. You can read it, or if you feel more comfortable with or would like me to read it, I'm okay either way.
Fantastic. Why don't you go ahead and, yeah, just maybe the section on why you wish to serve in this position.
Okay. Okay, so so my family, or actually, let me start here. Good evening. My name is Alicia Overstreet. Full name is Alicia Arthur Overstreet. I apologize for not being able to make it in person tonight, but I do, and I really appreciate the ability to join you all via Zoom. So as described in my application, my family and I have enjoyed living in Yamhill precisely because it's such a small and quaint town. My hope is to give back to the community that has been welcoming to my family by placing the needs and ideas and strengths of our community in the forefront of policy decisions. With transparency, honesty, and innovative ideas, I hope we can build upon and restore Yamhill's liveliness and prosperity while staying true to its logging background that I've been learning about over the last few years, and of course, our rural culture. I want to thank my fellow residents who've encouraged me to apply for this position. In my day-to-day life, I advocate for and on behalf of families with disabled children, as well as, get the opportunity to remind state folks that they can't continue to exclude rural Oregonians when making decisions at the state level, and then expect us to blindly adhere to their visions. So that's kind of in a nutshell what I get to do on a regular basis, and why I would love to be able to join you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Patty, would you like to read yours next, and then we can move on to the questions?
Sure.
We will.
What's that?
We'll read the third one, but I thought since you guys, you're here, why don't we have you read yours next?
Okay.
And then we'll have somebody read into the record, the other applicant that wasn't unable to attend.
Okay. So I have attended council meetings for more than 10 years. I am currently serving on the water committee. I get informed as to what's going on in our city. I ask questions and do what I can to get answers. I want to help make good decisions for our town. I am very involved with the water committee, starting new projects and completing projects from past years. Since I am retired, there would be not an issue with me being available when needed.
Thank you. And then would somebody like to read in for Miss Ekstrom? Ekstrom, yes. Would you like to, Kim, or I
Is
can?
that the, which one is it, that one?
Yeah, so I'll just read it. It's, she says, I want to learn and give back to the community that has helped me grow as a professional and as a business owner. Being on city council would give me an opportunity to serve my community that I love in a new way. And then we have some questions. There's, how many questions?
Well, there's. We kind of already know. Those two.
Why don't we go with the, you can ask those two, both of the ones that are available for the question. You want to do that?
Yeah.
Wow. Sure. And about question 2 and 3, both candidates.
Perfect.
So question 2 and 3, is that, yeah? Anybody would like to go?
You want me to go first?
Sure. So let's move back to,
Next door. Anyway, you guys have a nice day.
Where's it, what water district?
It usually is here, the South Yamhill Water District.
Oh.
quite a turnout though. So we should move back to Ms. Overstreet. And Mr. Askey would ask, Counselor Askey would ask the 2 questions.
Well, I'll just start with the first one. Because, okay, what do you, Alicia, what do you think are the 3 most important concerns facing YML?
From conversations and that I've been having with my neighbors, and then as well as some of the council meetings that I had attended last year. I think the 3 are water security that we have, or insecurity, public safety, and then being able to have our police department, so our police officers have everything that they need in order to continue doing the amazing work that they're doing in our town. And then I think the 3rd one would be, I guess, kind of what I sort of alluded to is the encroachment of state policies coming down into kind of our rural areas, and those not necessarily being in line with our rural culture out here compared to what state policies are, I guess, demanding.
All right, thanks. And then
Yeah.
same one. And then one more question. City councilors are meant to put their personal priorities and values second behind the interests of city as a whole. Can you tell us about a time when you have had to set aside your personal preferences for the interests of others?
That's a good one, because I have to do that somewhat every day, dealing with with folks on the state level. There are quite a few conversations that we have. I think one of the most contentious ones, on particularly in the state level, are in relation to DEI policies. Of course, state, the state agencies, they are still very much in line with wanting to push some of the harmful and discriminatory DEI pieces of DEI, whereas I am more of a equal opportunity person. And so working with some of the state folks, it can get a little bit more difficult to navigate that. However, I try to make the best of it and put it in the perspective of the folks that I engage with on a regular basis, so that again, state folks don't just run away with their ideas. And yeah, just make sure that it stays with, or that the voices and the ideas and perspectives of the people who are going to be most impacted are actually heard. I hope that answers that question.
Yes, thank you.
Patty, would you like to be next? Sure. Okay. What do you think are the three most important concerns facing Yamhill?
It's definitely the water versus the building. And sewer, it should be a priority because of the additional building that's going on and potentially not having the capacity for the sewer. So it'd be the water, sewer, and the speeding that goes on in town. And I've been very vocal about that. Because I live on Maple or Highway 240, whatever you want to call it. I see it every day and it's getting worse. And I'm very concerned over that, very concerned.
47.
Or excuse me, yeah, 47, not 240, sorry.
Okay, so moving on. City councilors are meant to put their personal priorities and values second, behind the interests of the city as a whole. Can you tell us about a time when you had to set aside your personal preferences for the interests of others?
That's a hard one because well, I'll put it this way. If I am very serious about something, as everybody knows, I'm very outspoken. I will have to be very conscientious how I address the issue. So as to, it's like I say, I can be very vocal. So I have to be conscientious about how I say things so that it's for the best of everybody that's listening to what I have to say. But the city is a priority to me, regardless of what my feelings are.
And unfortunately, we did not have our other person online still. Is that true?
She's not available.
Okay. So I think at this point, we could have, is there any council discussion? Does anybody have any further questions for either of the candidates? Any of your own questions?
No.
Any comments, discussion amongst ourselves?
Well, I'd really like to give the third candidate a chance to speak. In all honesty.
Do we happen to know why that person wasn't able to attend?
She didn't tell me the specific reason. She did say that she is a nurse and works 12-hour shifts, but she didn't say that was specifically the reason that she was not.
So just in reviewing the applications, I mean, just to start out with, I mean, we're truly blessed to have three candidates that all seem very, very qualified and interested in serving their community. There's other communities. I just had a meeting this morning with the mayors from Yamhill County. And yet there's positions that are unfilled. They have nobody that applies for them. So to have this kind of turnout for Yamhill is amazing. I also would love very much to hear from this other person. We do have our retreat before the next council meeting. So if we were to not choose this evening, that would leave us in a situation where we would have one counselor down while we're setting our goals for this council.
I think it's important to let the other person speak. That's just my personal opinion.
I mean, that would be amazing too. Thoughts?
I mean, all three of them had excellent qualities. I think they could be beneficial. But you're right, like the third person. It'd be nice to give them that little bit more of an opportunity, but we don't really want to go with only 4 of the 5 or the goals session, you know?
We'll just add, we did post that we would request they be here.
Yeah.
Not saying that that's not an excuse if something comes up that we would.
Yeah.
One of the things that strikes me is, it's a volunteer gig. And it's a lot of work. And, I mean, we've all had to hustle and run and move and change things. I kind of would have liked to have maybe got a little more I mean, God forbid this was a family emergency and the person wasn't able to attend. I would love to know that. I feel like maybe some consideration could be made. But we also, Carol Prendergast could attest to, we actually had people on planning commission that just didn't come. They were nominated, appointed, and then didn't show up. And I would hate to put our council into that situation as well. If this person just is, it may be a very nice and qualified and busy person that couldn't make all the meetings.
And we have open committee spots that this person probably could step into too.
So, and that's an excellent point too. So, I mean, with these 3 people that, and here's the thing, there is no reason that you could not vote for this person that has not been able to speak tonight. But we also do have a budget committee opening, and we also have a planning commission opening. And both of those roles are hugely important to the city. And I would encourage anybody, especially these two, the 2 candidates that would not be moving on, to apply for those positions. It's very important to have those people that are interested in serving for the city. So it would be a good opportunity for them. I know Kim would like to wait. Mr. Askey, do you think, should we move forward tonight?
Yeah.
Move forward tonight? Does anybody have further questions that they'd like to ask, or any more details, any concerns that they would like to speak directly to the 2 available candidates?
I mean, no questions. I mean, we did just have an election in November and Ms. Perrin was only 10 votes behind Mr. Askey here. So, the community members did vote them kind of neck and neck the whole time, so.
I mean, I think regardless of how it turns out, I'd like to encourage the other person to continue trying, just because you guys both seem like be great assets to.
Everybody is here is going to be an amazing asset in the city, and I'm sure there'll be other committees appointed, and there's lots of opportunities to serve, and I would encourage them not to be disappointed and not apply for those. But that being said, I think that we should probably look for nominations. Would anybody like to? So do I need to ask for a motion? To make a nomination? So I think the way that it would work is that I'll just ask if anybody would like to make a nomination. If you have one of the candidates that you would like to nominate, you just.
What if you have 2?
Yeah, you gotta make a choice.
Let's, yeah. Right? I have 3. I think we should try to narrow it down. Does anybody have a single candidate they would like to nominate?
They're your first choice,
What's that?
or first choice, is that? What you guys just.
Well, I'm thinking what I'm looking for is just if somebody would like to nominate one of these 3 people.
So I'll nominate Patty Perrin.
We have a second.
Well, second.
Okay, so Ms. Perrin has been nominated. Do we have another council that would like to make a nomination?
No.
This would be your time. This is gonna be somebody that you're gonna be serving with.
I'll leave it with Patty.
With Patty? So hearing no more nominations? Okay. So Can we get a vote?
Featherston, aye.
SCI.
Corrigan, aye.
Kend I.
Welcome, Patty Parent.
Thank you very much.
So although it's not on the agenda proper, I believe this would be the time that we'd be swearing a human in.
And
Mhm. So just before we do that, that's an excellent point. Thank you for both of the candidates, Ms. Overstreet and Ekstrom, for their application. I would very much like for you to reach out to Angie and Shelley and speak to them about the positions of Planning Commission and Budget Commissioner. We would really much appreciate your service, and we definitely could use the help.
Alicia has her hand raised.
Yes, thank you so much. I just wanted to express my gratitude. And I look forward to all the, good things that are going to be happening here in Yamhill.
Thank you again for your application, and yeah, please do think about reaching out to fill one of those other positions that are available.
Will do. Thank you.
Patty, would you like to come up, please?
Sure.
Just have you meet Angie in the middle here.
Slow down if I go too fast.
No, I'll leave mine.
So it's all written there.
Yep.
All right. So if you could raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Patty Perrin,
swear and affirm
swear and affirm
that I will faithfully support the constitutions
that I will faithfully support the constitutions
and laws of the
And-
United States of America
and laws of the United States of America
and the state of Oregon
and the state of Oregon
and the charter,
and the charter,
ordinances, and resolutions
ordinances, and resolutions of the city of Yamhill.
Go ahead.
And I will perform the duties of city council or for the city of Yamhill to the best of my ability, so long as I may continue in that capacity.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna say you.
See, Patty.
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 Patty, you got a new seat.
Counselor.
I need to come up now.
Counselor Barron, I mean.
Welcome.
there you go.
Thank you.
So for the record, Ms. Parent has served on other committees, including the Water Committee, is why she has a name badge already prepared. Just in case anybody was wondering. All right, so let's move right along. Let's review the applications for Budget Committee. And is that machine set up for you?
No, but I have
You have that with you?
everything here, and I'm clueless unless it's mine.
So just looking at this list and for some of the new counselors, so the list is, we have Paula Turp, we've got Potter, Bob Davis, sorry, Mike Wofford, and then we do have an open position. And that can be filled at any time during the budget process. Is that true?
Probably best not before the first.
Before.
Is there probably a person in the room currently that would like to apply for said position?
Well, look at me, I live out of town.
Okay, yeah, you have to live inside the city limits, I believe, for that one. Not sure. So with that said, all of these people served at least last year and many terms on Budget Committee. I believe Mike Wofford was at one point the Budget Committee chair. Yvette Potter, of course, our former mayor, and Paula Turp, former mayor as well. So we have some talent on that. We need to go over the applications one by one.
if not necessary, if you would like to just.
Is there anybody that has concerns or questions or doesn't know any of these people on there? Or has concerns about any person on there? So we just need a motion to approve. Well, to appoint. Can we get a motion can we appoint them 1 through 4, or do we have to go one by one? Okay. So can we get a motion to appoint the 4 candidates for budget committee?
I make a motion to appoint Paula Turk, Yvette Potter, Robert Davis, and Mike Wofford to budget committee for 2025-26 fiscal year.
I second the motion.
Can we get a vote?
Featherston, aye.
Ask I.
Bergen, aye.
Kend, I.
Karen, I.
Should have said it, Marcy.
Right. I don't know if you can do that if they haven't applied. All right, so moving along to the IT service update, our city administrator.
Okay, so just to give everybody an update, we moved from, we sent last month, I sent a notice of termination of contract to IS Outsource, our current IT provider. And we began offboarding with them. Dave Brooks is our new IT provider. And we are in process right now with him and we're in hopes of wrapping that up by the end of this month. That's our goal. It's possible it could go a little bit beyond that, but I've made it clear that we would really like this wrapped up by the end of the month. So all that to say, we will be offboarded with IS hopefully by end of February and fully on board with Dave in March, who will continue to just investigate our IT needs and then get us set up to go with a long-term provider in the future.
And that process is actually saving us a ton of money too at the same time.
Not yet, but it
But
will.
when he gets on board, yes.
Yeah, currently we are paying IS to offboard
Yeah,
an IT
but as soon as
onboard.
that's done, we
But yes.
start to see the savings
So,
and hopefully the improved service as well.
yeah. So that's that update. And then
Parks
Parks
Master
Master Plan, same thing. We are in contract negotiations with AKS. Our attorneys made quite a few revisions to their proposed contract. And so now their attorneys are looking at ours. And as soon as we get that finalized, we will have a signed contract and they will begin services. I don't expect that to go beyond the month of February. So hopefully next month we'll be moving forward with actually beginning the plan.
Beautiful.
So where are we with that? Any questions?
Yeah.
New planning position. So I did talk to several individuals who are interested in being our new contract planner. And we went ahead and decided to go with the COG, the Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Governments, who they actually are able to provide planning services. They for those that don't know, COG is they have a full range of services and in-house, and so they do budgeting, economic development, planning, grants, all sorts of various different human resources, different things. And we already have a contract with them for services. And so this was just one more service. We didn't have to do an RFP. We just did an IGA because we already have services with them. It was just one more that we added on. So they have assigned us a planner and we will, we have a meeting next Thursday with them. I have a meeting tomorrow with Walt. And we'll be basically handing over, the projects that we're working on, the grants that are coming up and getting them onboarded. They should be on by, I would say, March 1st. And we would have our first planning commission meeting with them in March and then our final citizen advisory committee for our grants, March 31st. So they'll be onboarded and up to speed for that. And the other really good thing about going with the COG is the rates are reasonable. And in addition to all the planning services they provide, they have in-house grant people that when we're working on a project, they can identify, hey, we know of this grant that could potentially help fund this project. So it's kind of a really nice service for that. So that's that. So we're excited about that.
Will Walt be making himself available a little bit during the transition to the oncoming?
Absolutely. And he's made it clear that he's happy to continue to help out as needed for projects.
I have a question. When it comes to grants, do they have in-house grant writers or people that
Yes,
are
they do.
knowledgeable about the
Both.
grants?
They both,
And they could assist in writing grants?
they could. We'd have to pay for that,
Yeah,
so we would try not to, but if we needed to, we could. Yeah.
Good.
Okay, so moving on to the Community Action Committee meeting, number 3.
Yeah, so the last Citizen Advisory Committee for our grants was in January, and that actually was a great meeting to summarize where we've come to date. They took the public meeting in November and all the feedback that was received at that meeting, brought it back to our Citizen Advisory Committee for one final round of, hey, here's what the community said. Here's our recommendations. What do you say as the advisory committee? So we went through our comprehensive plan and all the recommendations that they were making with regard to the housing and downtown development codes. And we went through our development code updates with regard to both of those 2 items and gave them sort of a final list of recommendations. They're, as we speak, back making final revisions to our comp plan and those code updates. And they will, at this 4th meeting, bring those and present those to us at the advisory committee. And then the next step after that will be a joint work session, I believe, with planning commission and council, and then a public hearing with council for one last opportunity for the public to provide their feedback. So that's where we are with that.
And then the TSP ODOT.
Yeah, so this one's kind of exciting. So the council, some of you may recall last year, Walt, our planner, applied for transportation system plan grant, and we were not awarded. We were actually the 5th out of 4 4 award winners of that grant. And it was to fund writing a transportation system plan for the city of Yamhill. And so just so happened, Walt and I were on a phone call talking about reapplying for this grant next year when he's gone. And at the same time, an email came in from ODOT letting me know that they have decided to put us in their budget as a line item for next year to fund us for that. So rather than having to apply again, they would just put us in their budget. So it has to be approved. It's federal funds. So it's basically it's past the first stage, let's put it that way. It's at the sort of final stage to decide whether or not we would be a line item. So in the meantime, I am going to go ahead and reapply for that grant just in case.
Sure.
So one way or the other, it looks like we will have funds to pay for that transportation system plan, which is in our CIP. So it's one thing to get that. And the city needs a transportation system plan. So that was exciting to just be notified that they're going to be paying for that. Let's see, get my glasses on here. The last item I added was from our work session last month with the mission statement and the council priorities that were identified, and that is in your packet, the additional in your folder with the additional items. So Patty, this is going to be new to you, but this is what the council came up with this is the mission statement and the council priorities for this council, for the term of this council. And so the agenda item tonight is for this council to adopt what you guys came up with at that work session. So that's this motion. And I can read it if you'd like.
I would think that would.
Okay, so the mission statement, the proposed city of Yamhill mission statement for the city council is: the mission of the city of Yamhill is to foster a safe, sustainable, and vibrant community that celebrates our rich heritage, embraces opportunity, and enhances the quality of life for all citizens by providing essential services with integrity and respect. So that would be the mission statement of the council. It would be posted on our website. And then the council priorities identified for the 2025 council is: number 1, economic development; number 2, water stability; number 3, financial sustainability; number 4, emergency management; number 5, public safety; number 6, communication; number 7, parks; and number 8, affordability. The second item in your packet is just sort of your identified potential goals that we'll be defining that at the retreat a little bit more. So this is more in flux. This is actually what you're voting to adopt tonight, which is the general council priorities.
Thank you. Does council have any questions or discussion, comments, concerns?
I think it sounds great.
I do too.
You want a fist bump now or?
Kinda, yeah, let's do it. All right, so with that, I think that we need a motion to adopt this. Is that true? Yes. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion, we adopt the proposed mission statement and our priorities.
I'll second the motion.
Can we get a vote?
Featherston, aye.
Oregon, aye.
Kent, I.
Karen and I.
Great. And we'll be working on those further at the retreat,
Fantastic.
putting some goals to those.
So continuing on with new business, so we need to adopt a budget calendar. So the meetings have been moved to Tuesday.
For council?
No, this is for the budget.
Oh, for the budget.
But it is.
However, council is good news.
You're on that.
You're on that committee.
Yes.
Okay, just I wasn't sure if you were aware of it. Here you are.
Budget committee.
Okay. So it was Ross Schultz, and Ross will be joining us, I believe, this year
Yes.
via Zoom.
Yeah, we will be consulting at the budget committee meetings.
So these dates that are on the sheet here,
Yes.
are they all moved to Tuesdays?
No, so this calendar follows basically the same general schedule that was followed last year.
Okay,
And require, there's some reporting requirements for our recorder in there, so that's why some of these are spaced the way they are, but yeah, so just the budget meetings themselves are
I see, yeah.
Tuesdays. This is the full calendar. So the work session obviously already happened. Tonight is the 12th. And then there's a non-mandatory budget process review, which we'll just walk through how the process will go, which is on a Tuesday. Some of the rest of these are notices that are required. And then when you will receive the budget. And then the first actual budget meeting is the 15th. And then the second budget meeting is the 22nd. And then, so there's really only 2 scheduled budget meetings, and then there's a council meeting with the public.
And then to adopt it on the 11th.
And then the adoption is in June,
Fantastic.
which is a regular council meeting.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
That's right. So we need a motion to adopt the budget calendar. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion, we adopt the budget calendar.
Ask you a second. We'll give up.
Featherston, aye.
Oregon, aye.
Kent, I.
Karen and I.
Well, fantastic. Now we get more stuff to appoint. So the next thing would be to appoint our budget officer for this year. There it is, that's included in the manila envelope packet, I believe, yeah.
Resolution 3.
Yes. So it's a resolution appointing the city administrator as a budget officer per ORS 294331. Does that need to be read into record? No. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns on this matter? Not hearing any. Can I get a motion to approve, or can I get a motion? The person? So it'd be our city administrator that we would be appointing.
Yeah.
Which I believe is in line with the city charter. The city charter lists the city recorder or city administrator. And from what I understand of that, that was indicated because we did not have a city administrator at the time. So we would go to the likely candidate being the administrator when we have one.
I do have a question.
Yes.
So we make it a motion, we pass this, that the city administrator Shelley is this budget officer. Is this just for this budget cycle?
For this budget
Or is
cycle,
this-
yes.
Okay,
So then she will work, just so anybody that hasn't been through the budget process, I've only been through a couple, so if I did get this incorrect, please let me know. So Shelley, excuse me, our city administrator would be our budget officer. She would work in, with the budget committee as well as Ross Schultz, or that we have contracted with to help us with this process, and our, finance manager in order to prepare the budget, explain the budget to us. Any questions that we would have on that budget would go directly to, our city administrator. And, she would sort of run the meetings, I believe, throughout the process. And,
We used Ross last year, right, because we didn't have. City administrator.
So
so
budget,
go ahead.
okay, Ross was your contract budget,
Yeah, but didn't we?
but you actually had appointed your accounting clerk at the time,
Okay,
who's now your accounting manager, to be the budget
Yeah.
officer.
okay.
Yeah.
And the reason for that at that time was because we did not currently have, so our interim city administrator, I believe, responded with not it. When that nomination was coming up.
Quotations, that's accurate.
As at that point in time, that person was wearing enough hats that it did not seem reasonable or,
Got it.
yeah.
So both Kara and myself, our accounting manager and myself will be at the meetings, and Ross will be there for any questions that we might need answered as far as process mostly.
And I think, years gone by, Ross would actually drive over, come to the meetings and that sort of thing and provide a ton of assistance. And last year, I don't know if you guys recall, but that budget process was it was really quick. It was very, very good. And so I think that, this year with, our new city administrator and our finance manager, working together, I think that it'll be, equally smooth, if not smoother. And I look forward to maybe the following year not having to contract
that's
out at
right.
all. That would
That's
kind of
right.
be the goal.
That's our goal.
Yeah.
We just would rather be safe than sorry.
So with that, can we get a motion?
I make a motion to approve resolution number R 835, a resolution appointing city administrator as the budget officer per ORS 294.331.
Second?
I second.
Can we get a vote?
Karen second, I should say.
so this did I.
Askey, aye.
Corrigan, aye.
And I.
Karen and I.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
All right, moving along. So, this is cool. So the Urban Form Digital Zoning website. Just before you get, I think Shelley or our city administrator has a presentation, but we had an opportunity to sit down and this thing is really, really cool. Shelley, I'm gonna just start talking about it if you don't know. so.
Please do.
So there was an architect that kept running into the problem of when you go to look at a specific piece of property for development or redevelopment, that there wasn't a lot of information. You'd have to look into this and that and the other thing, and it was hard to find out, and maybe the city didn't know, or things had changed and weren't updated in code. So with this person, they worked with the city of Newburgh to put together a digital version. So it literally looks sort of like a Google map overview. You can click down onto any city in Yamhill County. You can click on the property and it will pop up all of the code and criteria for what you can build, what the setbacks are, what the restrictions are. It streamlines things. It's amazing. Anybody that was on planning commission, you would know that this is actually a very valuable tool. We feel like it would save the planning commission and our city planner probably a ton of time just being able to one-stop shop this and just look and see what and it was put together through, I believe was it a grant from or funding through the city of Newburgh,
Yeah.
which ends up with this county of Yamhill County being what we believe to be and what they believe to be the first county in the United States that has every city completely digitized for this purpose. So we're on the cutting edge.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So we have
And
a
that's
vid-
available to everybody at this
It's
point?
available to everybody.
Essentially what it is we have a video, and I don't know if we're gonna show the whole video of it, or, because it's 3 minutes long, do we have time for that? Or if we wanna just show the link to the Zoom, but it's basically like if you can use Google Maps and just type in an address, that's what it is. But when you type in the address, it pulls up the parcel, and then it lists.
Yeah, if we have the time, it's actually super cool, and I think it'll save us a ton of dough.
Very cool.
There are other counties that use it.
Do we know, is he doing it, are they doing that for other counties and other municipalities outside of Yamhill County, or they
I
started
think
just here?
eventually they will, but we're the inception point and starting it from.
City of Newburgh.
Okay.
So there is
I
a
believe-
monthly maintenance fee for this?
Well, there was 4 donors from the city
Oh,
of
was it
Newburgh,
4 donors from the
Yeah.
city of Newburgh?
including probably.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah, so that is, I think that's gonna be very cool, and I think it's gonna be very helpful for
Yeah, so we'll
planning.
be a part of that, and that should be kicking off and coming to Yamhill City of very soon.
Yeah. So next on our list is AI software subscription for city hall cameras.
I am gonna let the police chief tell you about this.
Chief, great.
Here we get a copy of the information. This is from Brad Soul from Brightside Electric. So it's something that we as the city and specifically utilization would be for the police department would not be able to afford this in our current fiscal budget. There's not room for it and or potentially even next year's budget. But what it's the subscription would be $1,800 for a 3-year subscription, which I'm not good at math, it's about $600 a year. But it's kind of like a 3-year subscription or a 5-year subscription, and that's what Brightside Electric's cost would be, which is about a $200 savings. So what Brad was kind enough to do is that we will be able to experiment with this and see if it's something the city would be, or the police department as well, would benefit from to pay for that subscription for the first 3 years. So the information, if you looked at it there, it's pretty much, so the cameras that are set up, there's one on the corner here, one on the corner there, and then there'll be a third one on the corner at the front door. The two here are 360-degree 5MP multi-sensor cameras. So the technologies of the cameras are there. It's technology of cameras. We've had the cameras at Public Works at the Beulah Park, and as well as there's a camera that you saw installed above T&E for the intersection on Main Street. So those cameras have the technology already. The subscription would be something that we could utilize, meaning the city and the police department, just to be able to do a search. We could type in, if you want, if there's a suspicious backpack, and we've got an issue with backpacks, was an example that was given to me, then you could just type in backpack, and then I or whomever is set up to get alerts to that, any backpacks that are left in view of any of the cameras. Or looking for a suspicious vehicle or something. If we have information about that vehicle, we could type that in and have that set up as a search capability to alert us if those vehicles go through the area. So it's useful information. It's not that the cameras require anything. It's the subscription to be able to access the data that the cameras are putting out there. A lot of people aren't aware, but a lot of not just police departments, but cities have cameras up all over that have these capabilities and utilize these capabilities. As far as even like the police departments utilize the license plate reader camera system. So it's that type of technology that's been out there forever. So it reads in, this potentially could, but in reference to what is utilized by police departments where they have the license plate reader system, if there's a stolen vehicle, vehicles that have expired tags, someone that's like an abduction type thing, or any type of alert system, so that those things would be flagged and utilized. So technology is there, something that we can at least at the expense of Brightside Electric utilize at this point to see if it's something that would be beneficial for that cost of about $600 a year at this point.
Fantastic. And so this isn't the cameras aren't capturing anything new or different. It's just a way to get to the information that the cameras have recorded.
Right. It's just software that we can, it programs that we already have. And also I can't speak for the school and what they're going to do, but Brightside Electric, Brad Salter is working with them on this as well. So, and we do have access right now to the camera systems at the schools, the school district for Yamhill Carlton. And so if they, and I can't say that they are or are not, because I don't know, I haven't spoken with the superintendent to see where he's at with this, but if they incorporate this capabilities into theirs, that could be something that could be really beneficial if we have anything that's going on critical at the school district.
Absolutely.
I have a question on that. So how long do the videos or recordings or whatever, how long are they kept?
That depends. So we don't know definitively yet, depending on what system or what software program we go with. But right now, with the cameras that we currently have, I can speak to is that if there's something going on, then we can download that information and have it kept. So as far as looping, I don't know when that happens, because there's quite a few cameras on the system and now we're adding more. So I don't have an answer until we know what we're gonna go with. The cameras are set up, they're not live yet. And we don't have a tie-in to the park for, they're being utilized. We just can't, like right now with the program I have, I can't view all of the cameras. Because we need to get our IT set up through the firewall to be able to access the footage. So they're operative, they're just not accessible right now for us. Through the software program.
And then the software would fix that.
Correct, yeah. So right now, if there's anything going on, if we get a call or anything, I can log in right now, bring up that camera and download the data for it.
The only reason I was asking is there was it's been a while back, it doesn't have anything to do with the city. And I asked the school if they had a video of the situation. And because their loop time, if you want to call it that, is so short, and I want to say a week at the time. And I thought, whoa, that's not very long.
Yeah, and I don't know for the schools, but again, that would be something that I don't know, I would want to have out for general public to know anyway. If I don't know, because it's still getting set up, but I don't know that I would want that to be known.
Yeah.
And Chief, did you need council approval for that, or is this more informational?
At this point, it's information, and this is something that the city administrator and I have discussed, so if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you. I don't know if they're making a decision right now.
How does it work with like, so if there is, I guess, an example would be like an Amber Alert or something, do you manually put it in, or is there something that just like, or pushes it to the like look out for list?
Yeah, so there's not a capability for Amber Alert to be able to automatically be set up onto these systems. There'd be something manual that you put in. And Chris might be able to know more about how that would work as far as Amber Alert.
Yeah, well, if you're a LEDs law enforcement data system, entry level, like all the 911 dispatchers throughout the state we can put flags on a vehicle, like this vehicle was used in a felony. So if anybody runs that, they know to call us, and they know that it was in a pursuit yesterday, right? So they'll know the car's stolen, it'll have a flag if it's been recently towed.
Okay.
It was
Yeah, I was just curious.
That sort of information that's plugged into this, but it'll alert
And then
you to.
They would be able to read
Yeah,
it.
it would not be automatically pushed to any of these systems. It would be something that, to answer your question, that we would have to actually manually enter, or someone would, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
But you would be able to search green pickup and it would go through and like find clips of green pickups that went through that camera.
Right.
So.
So this was just something we thought, when the chief brought it to my attention that they were offering to purchase this as subscription for us to try it. I didn't want to make the decision without council having an opportunity to decide if you wanted this type of technology available at the city for the community. So that's why we're bringing it to you guys tonight to decide if you're okay with it. And then at that point, we can move forward with accepting the subscription. I think is it annual? And so
It's a 3-year subscription.
3-year, and then at the end of 3 years, we will.
$1,800 for 3 years.
Seems like.
Did you say 6 then?
That.
Well, so I say
We have the
3
hardware.
years what it will be, and that's at a discounted price through what they get it at. Plus, we already are set up on the system, so it's not like we have to pay to get set up on the system. Which has pretty much been,
So in 3 years, it would be, we'd have it.
I mean, I can't speak highly enough of Brightside Electric and specifically Brad Salter and his crew of what they've done to benefit the city. For the things that they do.
Does anybody have any concerns with the AI cameras?
I mean, you guys already have.
If we want to become China, then let's do it.
Use it.
Do any counselors have any concerns about that?
I think it's a good thing.
What's that?
I said, I think it's a good thing.
And I really appreciate that they're letting us like kind of try it out a little bit too, right? Without charging us right away to make sure we get all of our IT stuff squared away and everything. That's great.
Will you be able to, will you report back to us once it gets going? That's how it's doing.
Do you happen to know in 3 years, if the city decides they want to maintain that subscription, is the price going to be the same or does it go up? Do you have any idea?
I highly doubt there would be a locked-in price with that. I can't speak to that, but I
We can look at.
would venture to guess it will not be that same price, but I don't know what the price will be. And if it's a system that works well and there's more, and it's kind of like that whole thing of if you have more users, then it brings the cost down.
And then there, you could go, would it be easy to like switch to something else in 3 years if you have problems with this one? And there are other options?
Well, there are always other options and other
So you can't-
software formats.
Okay.
But again, you could do a 1-year subscription, 2-year, up to
Yeah.
5 years. So, but to answer that, if you have a 1-year subscription, then
Yeah.
that's, for 2-year or 3-year.
Yeah.
I think, do we all agree that we should move forward with that for now?
Yes.
Great. That moves us on to department reports, city administrators report. Yeah, I
You need a motion?
don't think we need a motion, it was just.
Yeah, it's just
discussion.
information, I
Yeah.
believe, at this point. Yeah.
We just need to know.
Now, we already discussed the cameras,
was
and
a-
that's been something that's in fruition now of being done.
That will not be at the water treatment plant, though, that camera.
No, they're on the building here,
Okay, cool.
and that's been an ask.
Well, I mean, I was thinking, I was joking with Kyle a minute ago, but then I thought about like, making sure that everybody's actually comfortable with it, so.
That's been an ask of council for quite a few years. It's just that we haven't been able to afford it in the past.
Okay.
And fortunately, we've been able to do that recently.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the report for January, starting with police. Chief Graven, I do need to give a bit of an extra shout out to Chief Graven for the month of January because he worked an astronomical number of hours. I said provide extra coverage for multiple patrol shifts, but until you get to the slide that shows you the number of hours he worked. So just an extra thank you to Chief Graven for all of the service you provide all year long, but last month especially was bordering on inhumane. So thank you.
261 hours in 25 days.
Yes, we will get to that. So beyond that work, he helped work on with the install on the security cameras on the City Hall building that we just talked about. Multiple trainings and meetings and Zoom calls on various things, including suicide prevention, trauma-informed care, and threat assessments. And then he assisted me with onboarding the new IT provider. Maybe I assisted you. I'm not sure which way that went, but we worked together to get our new IT provider on board. And worked on an overdose fatality case reviews. Were some of the highlights from last month. And our school resource officer, Livingston, also helped quite a bit with picking up traffic patrols and speed enforcement. Ongoing work at the Yamhill Carlton schools, which always does a great job at. He purchased a drone and got our drone program up and running for the city of Yamhill and is trained in that. And he already used his drone to assist the sheriff's office with a possible burglary in progress with 2 kids, ages 10 and 7 years old, home alone in the house. And I emailed him and said, I need to know what happened because people are gonna wanna make sure that these kids are okay. I can't just leave it at this. And he said, turned out to be a false alarm. They had moved into a new house and it was a new noise to them. So they thought somebody was breaking in. So all was good. Nothing happened, but he was able to use his drone to help the sheriff's office. And then these are the statistics for January, the number of calls and activities from January, 198 calls, 14 case reports, 2 arrests, 28 municipal court citations, 105 warnings, 6 circuit court citations, 59 calls for service, and 138 officer initiated contacts. Chief Graven worked 261 hours in 25 days, as Mayor Corrigan mentioned. Officer Van Cleve worked 63 hours and 8 days. Officer Miller, 10 hours and 1 day. And Officer Livingston, 140 hours, 15 days. Total coverage of 474 hours and 15 days on average. And then the miles driven, Chief Craven, 1,420 miles. Officer Van Cleve, 260, Officer Miller, 70, Officer Livingston, 444, and that should say total, not Officer McMillan, because he is not here currently. That actually should not say total, it should be empty. At the water treatment plant, they worked on the Bantam pump, they desludged the set basin, adjusted the chemical settings, and reported that the water intake remains at 400 gallons per minute, and the average distribution is 115 gallons per minute. And we have a slide of the public works staff actually cleaning the said basin. That work?
Oh, this one, yeah, it is. This one's blurry. Sure, one.
Bigger job than that.
That building in 6 hours?
580 gallons a minute to fill it back
Sure.
in 6 hours.
Jason tells me that'll last about 5 years till you have to do that again.
That's the first time it's been done in over 20.
And you guys had the new filter media, the one.
We did that last August.
Mhm.
Water distribution, they repaired 2 water leaks, exercised multiple water valves on the west end of town, flushed 3 hydrants to remove scaling, and began the construction on West Third and Olive, which is what this picture is. And this is just a picture of one of the repaired water leaks on West Third and Olive. In the wastewater, they worked on the TMDL to clean stormwater and wastewater systems, check the effluent pumps, perform daily readings and operations on the lagoon systems, and conducted valve orientation with the public works staff throughout the lagoon system and headworks. Make sure everyone knows where to turn off valves. In collections and stormwater, they revealed a blockage on East Third Street and manhole and expelled the extrusion, and installed the catch basin on the corner of First and Elm Street. In public works, in streets, they are prepping South Hemlock between Highway 240 and First Street for the new upgrade and install of resurfacing. And in parks, they're just leak detection service and basic operations and maintenance for now. Inside City Hall and the administration, we began the budget preparations for the 25-26 fiscal year, sent water billing notices and recorded court citations, hired an IT service provider, hired a cleaning service provider, and began painting bathrooms. So you'll notice the public bathroom in the kitchen is got a fresh coat of paint on it in there. It looks a little fresher. And next slide. Continuing administration, all staff right now is working on their ongoing FEMA training. To get up to date on that, we processed building and planning applications, created created a Google Drive for the council shared docs, which you guys are using tonight. Issued 2 new business licenses and posted website notices for the construction on Third and Olive, planning, council, and budget announcements. In planning, as you heard earlier from Sean tonight, the planning commission held a public hearing on the lighting ordinance to address council concerns, and they approved it with modifications. They also held a public hearing on the gas station electronic sign and approved it for Maple Street. Approved the sign variance for the Cycle Yamhill kiosk donation. We held the 3rd citizen advisory committee meeting where we reviewed the comp plan and code feedback from the November public meeting. And we will be holding our fourth and final Citizen Advisory Committee meeting March 31st. And we hired a new planner. In City Council, we held the council priority planning session. Had weekly meetings with Mayor Corrigan. We attended the City Day at the Capitol where we met with Senator Starr and Representative Elmer. And expressed our concerns, shared our concerns with issues at the city. We got their support on that, and then fielded some calls from various people on council and committee candidates. And we worked on creating the council notebooks last month. Community engagement, we met with, I met with the Recology to discuss the Recycling Modernization Act updates. Met with the Yamhill Neighborhood Association, Senator Merkley's office regarding congressional funding for next fiscal year, the Yamhill County Economic Development Committee meetings, COG administrators meeting, and contract planning interviews. And upcoming events, Monday, the 17th, City Hall will be closed for President's Day. February 19th, the City Council is invited and encouraged to attend the City County Dinner at the City of Dayton. February 23rd, City Council is invited to a local leaders meeting, which happens before the town hall with Senator Merkley. So the local leaders meeting is for elected officials to meet with the senator. March 1st is our council retreat. March 5th is the Mid-Willamette Valley HOG Awards dinner. And it's my understanding that the city of Yamhill is part of nomination for an award for that urban form design that was presented tonight. So all of Yamhill County, all the cities within it are part of that award nomination. So we've been asked and encouraged to have our council, as many can attend that as well, because if we win, they want everybody represented, all the cities. March 31st is, like I said, this last Citizen Advisory Committee meeting, and then April 15th is our first budget meeting. And that is it. Do we have any questions from council?
Thank you for the report.
Okay.
Moving on to police department. Chief Graven, did you have any additional?
Unless anybody has any questions about what's been presented for the staff report or the statistical report.
I just want to, again, I know the city administrator said thank you, but for me personally, thank you very much for last month and all those hours. That's nuts.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I've flown to Florida and as far as Hawaii, and I never got jet lag, but January I did, and I
You got
did
jet lag? Yeah. Well, you drove about halfway to Florida, but all right.
Circles this way and then you go the other.
Yes. We have police staff report.
That was the police stuff.
That was the police staff report. I didn't mark my little thing. Public Works. Cause she covered it. Mayor's report. I mean, your reports are so thorough, but
I'm sorry.
no, I don't. You know, it's perfect. I was gonna talk about the this
I'd like to
city
know how
day.
you survived before you had chili.
I have said that several times, actually.
Good job, everybody.
Good night, Kelly.
See you.
What?
I don't have much. Oh, I was just gonna say it was great down there at Salem with you, getting all those meetings put together and having the opportunity to sit in front of people that can actually, you know, it's the decision makers themselves. So fantastic. I think we have some good opportunities coming from that. So I don't have much more to report other than I'm excited to have full council. And again, thank you to the people that have applied and were not successful this evening, but again, hoping that they will reach out to apply for the planning commission and for the budget committee, as those would be better committees if full. So that's all I have for tonight. So council reports, we have anything to report, council?
No.
You sure?
Well, I don't think it, I had a question.
Sure.
Who is supposed to be providing oversight on the contractors with the water main? Was that AKS?
What do you mean with regard to oversight? What
Well-
specifically?
I have several things. Maybe I'll just take this offline.
Okay, fine, yeah.
Sure.
It'd be Jason and the engineers probably, so we'll just, if there's specific things, let's talk.
But yeah, the city administrator can
Okay.
facilitate that and get you in the right direction, I would think.
Perfect, yeah.
Okay. Anything else for council reports? No, workers' comp voluntary hours reporting, January and February.
So basically that is gonna remain on the agenda every month, just as a reminder that this would be a good opportunity to log into that Google Drive document that was created for you to enter your hours, just to keep it super easy.
Are we able to access that outside of here, like on a personal computer?
I can give you the login information.
Or it can just be like shared with a link or something? Doesn't matter.
I don't know the answer if Google Drives can just be shared with a link, but.
Yes, I can.
Yeah,
Okay.
you have, you modify the access.
Okay. So we'll be, just try to keep those updated as.
Yeah, keep those updated every month. Add in any time you spend volunteering, reading your minutes, meetings outside of here, these meetings, because then those will be compiled and we have to turn them into safe. It's a requirement from them.
For the workers' comp, yeah.
Yeah. And when I have to turn those in, I don't know yet.
How far back do you need us to go from January to? Like start in January?
Yeah, I would start for this year, but I know you compiled some from last year.
I have numbers from last year as well.
Yeah, so I think our previous council will turn those in. They haven't been yet.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if do you happen to know off the top of your head when they require those?
There isn't a requirement, it's just we need to have them upon
Just keep them
request,
in case
and
there's-
more likely than not, because when it was inquired of before, it more likely than not, when we have an audit, will be requested again.
Oh, okay, so just keep them in our files until we're.
What isn't a deadline? I would say just keep up on it so we don't get behind again. But when it does happen, they'll have them for the audit, which will be coming up.
Those are some things that we should turn in, like a hard copy monthly, or just keep it on
I
file.
think
when you
Google Drive
ask.
is fine.
I'm thinking just save it there, and as long as it's accessible, and then whoever the point of contact is, the designated person to keep track of those. If that's happened, then they'll be responsible for it. You guys just be responsible for reporting it.
All right,
Hopefully that makes it easy for you guys.
I think so, better than writing it down.
Thank you to Angie for creating that document and the ease of reporting.
All right, so moving on to information and announcements. So, council retreat, March 1st. This parent or council parent, you should put that on your calendar. Do we want to speak to that, or are we just announcing that it's happening?
We can speak to it. I think, I'm having a meeting tomorrow, probably by Zoom now, if it snows, with our facilitator, and we're gonna go over the, agenda, which is in draft, pretty close to final form. And, there will be some questions that you will be sent by email for you to read, review, and hopefully answer ahead of time, but at least come prepared to answer them because it will be part of the conversation that she'll be asking you. And so the format for that will probably be like 9 to 4. It'll be held here in town. And it's an open meeting. It's a public meeting. Don't believe it will be Zoomed, so it'll just be in person. But she'll lead that discussion and walk us through the agenda. And basically the idea is to sort of walk through some steps to develop the council as a team, but mostly the focus is on getting through those priorities and putting specific goals to them and dates. So we can actually execute and make progress.
Fantastic.
And a few other exercises that she'll do.
All right, thank you. And then, so moving on, City Hall will be closed for President's Day on February 17th. I think you had mentioned that before on the presentation. The fourth and final Citizen Advisory Committee, March 31st. That's not, is that for the public as well?
The public
They could
is
attend, but
welcome
it's
to
not
attend,
a
but it's
presentation for the public as we had.
there's no invitation yet. It's an invited committee assigned.
Okay. And then the first budget meeting, which we still need somebody else to sign up for.
Don't look at me.
All right,
Right back at you.
well, I gotta try. So with that, if there's nothing else, can I get a motion?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
We are adjourned.
Did you get a second?
I second.
What do you do?
Can we turn the heat up in this place?
It's up.
This is it. So you don't fall asleep.
Don't meet in there.
9:50 this morning was turned to absolute, and that's all you get.
And with 2 degrees warmer by 12:30.